If you're over 70 years old and you wake up every single morning and reach for that same drink, the one sitting on your kitchen counter right now, I need you to stop for just a moment. Because what I'm about to share with you today could genuinely change the way you feel when you wake up, the way your heart beats at night, and even how clearly you think by the time afternoon rolls around. Most people assume this drink is perfectly fine. Millions of seniors consume it without a second thought. Their doctors haven't warned them, their families haven't noticed. And yet, quietly, slowly, this one morning habit may be doing something to the aging body that researchers are only now beginning to fully understand. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening. And I promise you, by the end of this, you'll look at your morning routine very differently. Think about how you felt this morning when you first opened your eyes. Maybe your joints felt stiff. Maybe your heart was beating a little faster than usual. Maybe there was that familiar fog in your head that just wouldn't clear for the first hour or two. You probably chalked it up to age. Most seniors do. And that's completely understandable. Because nobody tells you that some of those feelings might not be coming from your age at all. They might be coming from what you're drinking every single day, before you even eat your first meal. I've spent years reading through research on senior health, cardiovascular function, blood sugar regulation, and cognitive decline, and one theme keeps appearing again and again. And that theme is this: what feels harmless in your 20s can become genuinely dangerous in your 70s. The aging body processes things differently. The kidneys aren't as efficient. The heart is more sensitive. The brain is more vulnerable. And certain drinks, ones we've all been told are normal, even healthy, start to interact with an older body in ways that are nothing short of alarming. Now, I want to be clear right from the beginning. I'm not here to frighten you. I'm here because the people at Dr. Silas Redford Wellness believe that every senior deserves to know the truth about their health. Not the watered-down version, not the version that gets brushed aside in a 5-minute doctor's appointment, but the real, full picture. And that's exactly what we're going to give you today. Before we go further, if you find this kind of information helpful, and I truly believe you will, take just a second and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We put out honest, research-backed health content for seniors every week, and it would mean the world to us to have you as part of this community. Okay, now, let's talk about this drink. The drink I'm referring to is orange juice. Store-bought, pasteurized, 100% pure orange juice, the kind that has been sitting in the refrigerator sections of American grocery stores for decades, the kind your doctor may have told you is a good source of vitamin C, the kind that's been marketed as a healthy breakfast staple since you were a child. And here's the part that might surprise you, because it surprised a lot of researchers too. For seniors over the age of 70, drinking a standard glass of commercial orange juice every morning may be one of the single worst dietary habits you can have. Now, I know what you're thinking. Orange juice? That's what you're warning me about? It has vitamins. It comes from fruit. How could something so natural be that harmful? And that right there, that exact thought, is why millions of seniors are unknowingly putting their health at risk every single morning. Because what's in that bottle of orange juice, once you look past the label, is not what most people think it is. Let me tell you about a woman named Carolyn. She was 73 years old, living in Ohio, and by all accounts, she was doing everything right. She took her medications, went to her doctor regularly, ate what she believed was a balanced diet, and started every morning with a large glass of orange juice because, and she said this herself, it made her feel like she was doing something good for her body. But over about 18 months, Carolyn started noticing things. Her blood sugar readings at her checkups were creeping higher and higher. Her energy was inconsistent, good in the morning, then crashing hard by noon. She was waking up at night more often. Her doctor added a second medication, then a third, and nobody, not one person, ever asked her about the orange juice. It wasn't until Carolyn mentioned her morning routine to a nutritionist that someone finally connected the dots. And what that nutritionist told her changed everything. But before I get to what she learned, I need to explain something about the aging body that most seniors, and honestly, even most general practitioners, don't fully appreciate. When you're young, your body is remarkably good at handling sugar. Your pancreas releases insulin quickly, your cells absorb glucose efficiently, and your blood sugar returns to normal relatively fast. But as you age, particularly after 65, something begins to shift. Insulin sensitivity decreases. The pancreas becomes slower to respond. Cells don't absorb glucose as readily. And this means that the same amount of sugar that was completely manageable at 40 becomes genuinely problematic at 70. Not because you're unhealthy, not because something went wrong, but simply because this is what aging does to human metabolism. Now, here's where orange juice enters the picture, and why it matters so much. A standard 8-ounce glass of store-bought orange juice contains roughly 26 grams of sugar. That is nearly the same sugar content as a can of soda. The difference, and this is the critical part, is that orange juice contains almost no fiber. When you eat an actual orange, the fiber inside the fruit slows down the absorption of that sugar into your bloodstream. Your blood glucose rises gradually. Your insulin can keep up. Everything stays relatively balanced. But when you drink juice, commercial juice that has been processed, pasteurized, and stripped of its fiber, all of that sugar hits your bloodstream at once. It's like opening a floodgate. And for an aging body that's already struggling with insulin sensitivity, that flood is not a gentle tide. It's a wave. What researchers have found, and this is where things get truly alarming, is that repeated blood sugar spikes over time don't just affect diabetes risk. They affect your heart. They affect your kidneys. They affect your brain. And the worst part is that most seniors who are experiencing early damage from this pattern have absolutely no idea it's happening because the symptoms feel so ordinary. Fatigue after meals, brain fog in the afternoon, increased thirst, waking up frequently at night. These are the signs that your body is struggling, and they're so easy to mistake for just getting older. There's a cardiologist named Dr. Marcus Ellery, based in Florida, who began tracking blood sugar patterns in his senior patients a few years ago. What he found was striking. A significant portion of his patients who showed unexplained cardiovascular stress, elevated resting heart rate, increased inflammation markers, irregular blood pressure readings, were consuming high glycemic foods and drinks every morning. Orange juice was one of the most common culprits. When he adjusted their morning routines, eliminating the juice and replacing it with whole fruit and water, many of those markers began to improve within just a few weeks. Not all patients, not overnight, but the pattern was consistent enough that it changed how he counsels his elderly patients to this day. Now, I want to stay with the cardiovascular piece for a moment, because this is where the danger becomes most serious for seniors. The heart, after the age of 70, is working harder than it ever has. The arteries are less flexible. The blood vessels respond differently to changes in pressure and composition. And repeated blood sugar spikes, the kind that come from drinking orange juice every morning, trigger a cascade of inflammation in the body. That inflammation puts stress on arterial walls. It contributes to the buildup of plaque. It makes the heart work harder to maintain normal circulation. And over time, that cumulative stress adds up. A study published in a peer-reviewed nutrition journal found that elderly adults who consumed high-sugar beverages daily, even those considered natural, like fruit juice, had measurably higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood compared to those who did not. These are the same markers associated with increased risk of cardiovascular events, cognitive decline, and kidney strain. Again, this doesn't mean one glass of orange juice will cause a heart attack, but it does mean that making this a daily habit, year after year after year, may be quietly contributing to conditions that seniors are already vulnerable to. And that's a conversation worth having. Let me tell you something that might surprise you even more. It's not just the sugar. There's something else inside commercial orange juice that many people don't realize. And this part caught me off guard when I first came across it. Most store-bought orange juice is not fresh. Even the kind labeled not from concentrate or freshly squeezed goes through a process called deaeration, where oxygen is removed so the juice can be stored in large tanks, sometimes for up to a year without spoiling. But this process also strips the juice of its natural flavor. So manufacturers add what are called flavor packs, proprietary blends of orange oil and other compounds to restore the taste before the juice is bottled and sold. These flavor packs are made from orange-derived components, which is why the industry can still legally call the juice natural. But the blend of compounds in those packs is not the same as what you'd find in a fresh orange. And for seniors whose digestive systems, liver function, and detoxification pathways are already slower and less efficient than they were decades ago, this is worth paying close attention to. Now, let's take a breath here, because I know that for some of you, this is a lot to take in. You may have been drinking orange juice your whole life. It may be something your mother gave you as a child. It may feel like one of the last simple morning pleasures you still enjoy. And I want to be very clear. I am not here to take away your joy. I am here to help you make informed choices. Because the good news, and there genuinely is good news, is that once you understand what's happening, making a change is not hard, and the results can come faster than you might expect. Think again about Carolyn from Ohio. When she stopped drinking orange juice every morning and replaced it with half a fresh orange, a glass of water, and sometimes a small handful of blueberries, something started to shift within about 3 weeks. Her afternoon energy crash became less severe. She started sleeping a little better. Her blood sugar readings at her next checkup came down slightly. Not dramatically, but enough that her doctor noticed. And maybe most importantly, she felt a sense of control, like she had found something she could actually do, something small that was making a real difference. That's what I want for you too. Because here's something that the medical system doesn't always do a great job of communicating. Small, consistent daily choices have an enormous cumulative impact on senior health. The body is always responding. It is always adapting. It is never too late to give it a better signal. And sometimes the most powerful change you can make is the one that happens quietly, in your kitchen, before the rest of the world is even awake. Let's talk about what actually happens in the brain when blood sugar fluctuates repeatedly. Because this is the part that I think hits the hardest when seniors hear it. The brain is almost entirely dependent on glucose for energy, but it needs stable glucose, not spikes and crashes. When you drink something high in sugar and low in fiber first thing in the morning, your blood sugar shoots up. Your body responds by releasing insulin. In aging adults, that insulin response can sometimes overshoot, bringing blood sugar down too far, too fast. That drop is what causes the familiar mid-morning fog, the sudden fatigue, the irritability, the difficulty concentrating. And here is the part that most seniors never realize until it's too late. Over years, this repeated cycle of spikes and crashes can cause structural changes in brain cells. It contributes to something researchers call insulin resistance of the brain, a condition now being studied as a potential contributing factor to cognitive decline and even dementia. The brain becomes less efficient at using glucose, processing slows, memory retrieval becomes harder, and all of this can begin silently, long before any official diagnosis, fed in part by daily habits that seem completely harmless from the outside. I want to share one more story with you, because I think this one is especially important. There's a man named Harold, 78 years old, retired teacher, living in Arizona. Harold had been experiencing what he called senior moments for a couple of years. He'd forget where he put things, he'd lose track of conversations. He started to worry quietly that something was really wrong with him. His family was concerned, his doctor ordered some tests, but everything came back in the normal range. No official diagnosis. Just the suggestion that this happens with age. Harold's daughter, who had been researching brain health and diet, suggested he try eliminating his morning orange juice for 30 days and replacing it with water and whole fruit. Harold was skeptical. He wasn't sure a beverage change could make any real difference, but he agreed to try. And around day 25, Harold said something to his daughter that she later shared. "I feel like someone turned the lights back on." He wasn't cured of anything. He didn't suddenly have perfect memory, but the fog had lifted, meaningfully, noticeably, and the only significant change he had made was that morning beverage. Is this guaranteed to happen for everyone? No. Bodies are different. Situations are different. Medical histories vary. But stories like Harold's are not isolated. They appear again and again in research communities, in nutrition consultations, and in the personal accounts of seniors who made this change. And they are worth paying attention to. So, what should you drink instead? This is the practical part, because I never want to leave you with a warning without also giving you a path forward. Water is and always will be the single best morning beverage for anyone, and especially for seniors. Hydration is critical for kidney function, blood pressure regulation, joint health, and brain clarity. Many seniors are chronically mildly dehydrated without knowing it, and starting the morning with a full glass of water before anything else gives your body an immediate, measurable benefit. Beyond water, herbal teas, particularly ginger tea, hibiscus tea, and chamomile, offer gentle anti-inflammatory compounds that support cardiovascular and digestive health. Green tea, in moderate amounts, provides a small dose of natural caffeine, along with powerful antioxidants called catechins that have been shown to support brain and heart health in aging adults. If you want something with a fruit-forward flavor, consider diluting a small amount of fresh squeezed lemon into warm water. The vitamin C is still there. The flavor is still there. But the glycemic impact is dramatically reduced. And if you truly love the taste of orange and don't want to give it up entirely, eat the orange, the whole orange, with the fiber intact, with the segments and the membrane. That simple change alone slows the sugar absorption, keeps your blood glucose steadier, and still gives you the nutrients you're looking for. You're not losing anything. You're gaining balance. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. And I mean this sincerely, from everything I've read and everything this research points toward. You are not powerless. Your body at 70, at 75, at 82, it is still listening. It is still responding to the choices you make. Every morning is a new opportunity to give it something better. And sometimes the change that makes the biggest difference is the simplest one. It doesn't require a prescription. It doesn't require a specialist. It just requires knowing the truth and then choosing differently. Carolyn chose differently. Harold chose differently. And both of them felt it, not just in their numbers, but in how they moved through their days. That kind of change is available to you too, right now, starting tomorrow morning. If this video opened your eyes, if there's even one thing you learned today that you didn't know before, I'd love for you to share it with someone you care about. Share it with your spouse, your sibling, your neighbor, your friend who you know drinks a big glass of OJ every single morning. Because that's how information like this reaches the people who need it most, one share at a time. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, did you know about the effects of commercial orange juice on senior health? Are you going to make a change? Have you already tried cutting it out and noticed something? This community is full of people who are on exactly the same journey you are, and your experience might be the thing that encourages someone else to take that first step. We are in this together. Every single one of you who shows up here and chooses to learn, to question, and to take care of yourself, you inspire us to keep doing this work. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself today, and we'll see you in the next one.